What's up guys, it's Spiderwolf back for another JJKPhantomparade video. So today we're going to be going over the brand new units, Megumi and Nobara. We'll take those videos because pardon me Megumi, but the next video will be Nobara. But before we start though, I'd greatly appreciate it because drop me like, comment, subscribe would really help me out trying to get to 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year. But that being said, let's get right into this. So this video is mainly just going to be Megumi, and then the second video will be Nobara. So, you know, vice versa, whatever. One thing I do want to mention though is that this video might be a little bit longer than a Nobara video because I'm going to be talking about a couple other things in this video, like there's a new event that we're going to be getting within 24 hours-ish, give or take, because the new units will be dropping in about 24 hours by the time these videos are uploaded. Maybe, I think probably a little earlier. But yeah, we're going to be getting this like new event here. I'm not too sure how this event's going to really work, but yeah, we're just getting like a new event here. That's going to probably be difficult, yeah, an all-out battle. I don't know if it's supposed to be like a Mahagara or something, but yeah, it's like some new content thing that should be pretty cool. From what it says here, it's gonna be multiplayer battle, multiple teams, so sounds like it's gonna be like the Mahagara event pretty much, where everybody technically fights like a boss or Mahagara. Then it changes every day, like how Mahagara was changing, like these characters were the characters that were used the most popular the most for day one, so then they're going to be heavily nerfed on day two and so on, yada yada yada. So it's probably gonna be the same thing as that. As far as rewards are gonna go, they just mentioned we're gonna get SSR recollection bit, a limited one, a soul shard for SSR, and then some free cubes. So some pretty good stuff most likely is what we're gonna get from this. That's pretty nice. Of course, limited Megumi is going to be coming out with a brand new recollection bit, as well as Nobara. But of course, we're just going to be talking about Megumi in this video, and then I'll probably just throw his recollection bit, maybe something else in here. But yeah, let's go into what exactly Megumi does. So he is a green character. He's focused on being a debuffer, so he's not a DPS character, support character. He's a specifically debuffer character. Kind of funny because we haven't really had a good we actually haven't had like a DPS Megumi at all yet. Maybe we'll see one when we get like one for the Culling Games arc. Maybe we'll see one for that when he's fighting against I forget what his name was, the guy with like the paper or whatever. Maybe he'll be a DPS character, but yeah, so far almost Megumis have been debuffers, which is a little bit funny to me. But yeah, so he is a debuffer. He's green. He has no characteristic, no black flash, which makes sense. Skill 1, Divine Dog, Totality, so level 1, he's going to increase his own break damage by 200%, removed after activation, so only when you use the skill. He's going to deal 94 range Jutsu damage to one enemy that can ignore darkness. He's going to increase the selected enemy's break damage received by 12% for 3 turns, and then extends the following effect from the selected enemy by 1 turn. If applicable, cooldown 3 turns, green physical and Jutsu damage received, Fushiguro, and then green damage received, Fushiguro. I'm not too sure what this means exactly. I guess this is some sort of debuff that he's able to, only he can take advantage of, I guess, maybe? I'm not too, not quite sure. Also, I am still a little bit sick, unfortunately, which kind of blows. Anyways, level 10 here, he's going to just do off 150 range jutsu damage to an enemy, and then he's going to increase their break damage received by 20% instead of 12%. And then that's pretty much about it. So basically he just is able to increase their break damage received by an extra 8% or whatever. So it's decent, right? It's not too bad. At level 8 it's going to be 18%, so pretty decent for skill 1 here. Skill 2, the Will's Unknown Abyss. So level 1 it's going to cost you 20 cursed energy. He's going to deal 160 range jutsu damage to one enemy for 6 hits that can go through darkness. Increase the selected enemy's green physical and jutsu damage received, Fushiguro, by 22.3% for 3 turns. Stun the enemy with for 1 turn at an 80% chance. And if you do fail the stun, then you decrease the selected enemy's crit hit resistance by 6% for 2 turns. At level 10 is going to be 210 range jutsu damage, and then a 50% physical and jutsu damage received by green allies, I guess, or maybe only by Megumi? I'm not too sure because it mentions Fushiguro bit here, so I'm not too sure, but I'm going to assume maybe this is like the name of the debuff or whatever, and then this is like just saying for all green allies they'll just be able to do more damage to the enemy. And then his stun chance is still the same, but his stun, if he doesn't miss it, will not, or the crit hit resistance debuff to the enemy will be increased to 10% instead of 6%, so it's decent. Nothing too crazy so far. I mean, this is nice though, I will say. The increasing the selected enemy's physical and jutsu stat by green characters is quite nice, so That's not too bad. And also the fact that it can go through darkness and the fact that it can stun. So, I mean, overall, it's pretty good skill, I'd say, for the most part. And also the fact that, like, if it does miss, you do at least get something pretty decent out of it as well. So, that's pretty cool. Skill 3 here, Max Elephant. At level 1, it's going to cost you 30 curse energy. He's going to deal 219 range Jutsu damage to all enemies, so an AoE skill. He's going to decrease all enemies' critical hit resistance by 6% for 4 turns, and then he's going to increase all green damage received Fushiguro by 14.3% for 4 turns. Cannot be stacked. So all enemies will take more green damage, or take increased damage by green allies, I guess. And then he's going to increase his own critical hit rate by 9.2% for 4 turns. He's also going to increase his own jutsu stat by the same thing, 9% for 4 turns. And then to an ally that's behind him, he's going to increase their critical hit rate by 5% for 4 turns, and then increase their physical and jutsu stat by 5% for 4 turns, but it can't be stacked. At level 10, he's going to deal 400 range jutsu damage, decrease their crit resistance by 10%, increase their green damage received by 30%, and then increase his own critical hit rate and jutsu stat by 15%, and then the allies' critical hit and physical and jutsu stat by 10%. So pretty good, I'd say, for the most part. So he does a little bit of buffing here for an ally that's behind him. He buffs his own damage a little bit here with his crit rate and jutsu stat, and then he's also applying a decent debuff here to the enemy of where they take increased green damage, or increased damage by green allies by 30% for 4 turns, which is quite nice. The only downside is that you can't stack it, but it's, you know, at least you can get some damage out of it. You can stack at least critical hit resistance down, I think. So it's nice. At level 8, it's going to be 360 and 9%. For critical hit resistance, 26.5 for green damage received, 13 for his crit and jutsu stat buff, and then the ally is going to be getting, the ally behind him is going to be getting an 8.9 critical hit and physical and jutsu stat buff for 4 turns. So it's decent, nothing too crazy so far. I mean, in terms of the numbers here, I mean, he's doing a lot. At the very least, he's doing a lot. It's just the numbers aren't super high, in my opinion. But I mean, they're decent, right? They're decent. I guess the other downside is they can't stack some of these, right? But 4 turns is still pretty good, right? His ultimate here, Shikai combo, or Shikigami combo, I said that wrong, my bad. At level 1, he's going to deal 886 range jutsu damage to all enemies for 5 hits. He's going to increase all enemies' green, physical, and jutsu stat received, or damage received by 22.3% for 3 turns. He's going to increase all enemies' break damage received by 5% for 3 turns. Decrease all enemies' critical hit resistance by 5% for 3 turns, and then reduce own curse energy cost by 5 turns. Cannot be stacked. At level 10, it's going to be 1,500 range jutsu damage to all enemies. He's going to increase all enemies' green, physical, and jutsu damage received by 50%. He's going to also increase their break damage received by 10%, critical hit resistance by 10%, and then that's pretty much it. At level 7, that's going to be 1,200 or 1,295. And then a 40% physical and jutsu damage received, specifically for green allies to enemies, and then an 8% for break and critical hit resistance increase to enemies. So overall, pretty good. I mean, at max, pretty good damage. It's AoE. This is quite nice though, the 50% damage increase. Plus, this doesn't have the debuff of like the other one here where it can't be stacked. So you could be running 50. Like if you do maybe skill 3. You get 30% here, you do the ultimate here, get 50%. I think these will maybe stack, because this one doesn't stack, but this one stacks. But then again, it does have like the Fushiguro name here, so maybe that's the name of the debuff. So, not 100% sure on that one, to be honest. But, I mean, 50% is still quite good, right? So, that's nice. His combo ultimate here, he's going to deal 256 melee physical damage to one enemy, increase his own and allies' critical hit rate by 30% for 3 turns, and then fill everybody's ultimate gauge by 110. With hidden potential stage 2, it's going to be 384 melee physical damage. Kind of interesting, it's melee. Or not melee, but physical damage. And then he's going to increase his and the allies' critical hit rate by 40% for 3 turns, and also recover his and the allies' cursed energy by 10. And kind of decent, I guess. His auto skill here is going to be critical hit enhancement, so when performing a critical hit 1 time per turn, he's going to increase his own jutsu stat by 20% for 3 turns, increase his own ultimate gauge by charging rate by 10% for 3 turns, and then to any ally that's behind him, increase their physical and jutsu stat by 10% for 3 turns. I guess that's decent. That's kind of funny because this is like what most Yujis and Nanamis have. And then of course they got like the advanced version with the whole black flash thing. But yeah, I mean that's not bad, right? Critical hit rate. Does he have a high chance to crit? Let's see. Well, I mean, he does reduce their crit hit resistance by a bit here, right? 10% here, 10% here, right? So yeah, 10% there, and then 10% here, and then yeah, basically almost everything in this kit reduces the enemy's crit hit by 10%, except skill 1 here. But oh, okay, yeah. So now that we went through this whole kit, right? Let's go back to skill 1 here. So extends the following effect to the select enemy by 1 turn if applicable, but it's on a 3-turn cooldown. So if an enemy is applied with a physical and Jujutsu stat damage received or a green damage received debuff, that's called Fushiguro. If you do skill 1, he's going to extend it by an additional turn. So if you were to do, say, skill 3 here, right? You do this one, right? This AoE one here, 30% for 4 turns. You do skill 1, it'll get increased to 5 turns, right? Or back to 4. So that's kind of nice. So if you were to use skill 1, it'll basically make his debuffs last longer, which is pretty nice actually. It does have a 3-turn cooldown though, but if you're able to kind of like do it right, since this is 4 turns here, since this is 4 turns here and then this is only a 3-turn cooldown, technically you could have you couldn't have like this debuff, this green debuff active like 24/7, but you could have it up for like, you know, for I think it was like 5 turns or more. Let me see. Yeah, because if you do 4 turns, next turn would be 3 turns. You do the skill here, you increase it back to 4 turns, 3 turns pass by, you activate it again. So that would be like what, 4. Reset again, another 4, 8, so what, maybe like 9 turns? Maybe 9 to 10 turns? I don't know, something like that, right? Because it's 4, goes down to 3, you do skill 1, it goes back up to 4 turns, so then you get 5 right there, 3 turns pass by again, you can activate it again, that goes to 2, so let's see, 5, 6, 7, I think it's 7 turns, yeah. So I think if you're just to specifically just do, I mean, actually you don't even have to do that, right? You could do skill 3, do skill 1 immediately, and then just do skill 2, or do skill 2 then skill 1, something like that. I don't know. But basically what I'm trying to say is that like, you know, you can kind of like use skill 1 here to like it says, literally just extend the debuffs, which is quite nice, so that's pretty good. Like I said, the only thing I kind of don't like a little bit is that his debuffs are like not super big, but then again, I can't really say that they're not like that big of debuffs, right? Because this is literally 50%, so that's pretty huge, right? And then skill 3 here is 30%, which is not high, but I mean, like, it's still good. And then the ultimate is just a bigger version of that, right? It's the it's 50% here with the ultimate, or this is only 30%, but I mean, like, it's still pretty good, right? So I'd say overall he's pretty good. I don't know if I'd say he's better than Green Ghetto though. That's the only thing, is I'm not sure if he's better than Ghetto, right? Because they're kind of doing this, they're kind of fulfilling the same purpose of debuffing the enemy with increasing their damage taken, right? Like for Ghetto, right? Depending on like who you're running, like if you're running like Gojo, or if you're running like Yuji, right? You would basically only focus on either skill 3 or skill 2. Because if you use Gojo, right, you just use skill 2 for the jutsu damage received. But then if you're using Yuji, right, then you would do skill 3 for the physical damage received, right? But in this case, right, for Ghetto, he's only doing 18% for 4 turns, and then but he's also able to apply an additional one here, I think, right? Yeah, I think, or a stronger version for green allies, but I think this could stack, so you could get like both of these, right? Which is an additional like over 30% basically. And then the ultimate also applies I think it's just damage, right? Yeah, his ultimate's damage, but I mean, it's still pretty good. His combo's pretty good. Yeah, I mean, yeah. So I mean, I guess this Megumi is technically like a little bit better than Ghetto, right? Because all Ghetto's doing is just increasing the selected enemy's either physical or Jujutsu stat by 18%, and then it can go up by an additional 19%. once his curse energy is 35 or 30 above. So there is that to take into account. That's all this Geto is really doing for you. Plus also his ultimate pretty good work for helping you break the enemy's break bar, right? Sorry about that. So I mean that's all this Geto is really doing for you, right? It's just he's a bit like he's more of like a DPS debuffer than like just a pure debuffer, which I mean skill 2, skill 3 can kind of spam out, and they have pretty good debuffs here. But if we go to Megumi, right? Megumi here, it's technically applying more debuffs for you because he's applying a 50% here for all green allies. That's both physical and Jujutsu, and then his skill 3 is doing the same thing. Or my bad. Yes, skill 2 is doing it for specifically for physical and Jujutsu damage received. Whereas skill 3 is doing it for like all green damage received, right? But the numbers are way bigger. Though at the same time, right, like the curse energy thing is a little bit different, right? Because for Geto is only 25 and 15, Megumi is 30 and 20, so a bit of a heavier cost, right? But there's ways you can kind of like circumvent that where it's not that bad, right? And there's ultimate also a little bit better too in terms of like being able to play more debuffs. So this Megumi is more of like pure debuffing with a little bit of support and a decent amount of damage, right? Like 15,000 damage is pretty good, plus it's AoE. Here's another AoE skill here, otherwise everything else is single target. So I'd say for the most part it's pretty good. I definitely say he is pretty good. I don't know if I'd say you need to chase him, but he is pretty good. I mean, I guess we do also have to look at another debuffer, right? Because there's another really good green character that's both a DPS and a debuffer as well. Maybe even more so than Geto, to be honest, which is Choso, right? Choso's another great example of this, where he is, let me see, I don't know if it was, yeah, so skill 1 here with his blood form, he's increasing the enemy's damage received by 30%. On skill 2 here, just damage, increase enemies damage received by 25% here for green characters. When you have the upgraded version from Flowing Red Scale, he does pretty good damage. He's increasing his own damage, he's decreasing his own damage received, and then he's increasing the enemy's damage received, increasing the enemy's damage received by 25% for green characters, by 25% there. With his skill 3 here, he's increasing by 25. With his upgraded version, he's doing pretty good damage, yeah, the 300% here. He's also applying a lot of DOTs with poison, and then he's increasing their damage received by 50%. He also has a chance to stun them as well. And then with his ultimate here, he's able to decrease his own damage. He's able to, or decrease his own damage taken. He's able to increase his own damage, physical and is it both? Yeah, both. He's able to increase his own jutsu, physical and damage up by 50%. 900 damage. He deals poison. He increases their damage by 50% again. If he has his buffed version here, I think he just does what more damage, looks about the same. He just does additional damage, and then he also does, I guess, an additional increases their damage received by 50%. And then his auto skill here is recovering some kind of synergy, which is pretty good. But yeah, so technically it's kind of like in a situation where well, like Red Megumi and Mahito, where they're both debuffing, but they're like slightly debuffing like different things, where this Choso, right, really good character, he's increasing the enemy's damage received just like general damage, but specifically for green allies, whereas this Megumi and then what is it, Megumi and Geto, right, are doing physical and jutsu stat, right, like having the enemies take more damage from physical and jutsu stat by a certain amount for green allies. But this Megumi has that plus crit resistance, and also just general green damage received, right? What was it? Ultimate here, increase enemies green physical and jutsu damage received by 50% here, and then on his skill 3, increase all enemies green damage received, just general, right? Whereas Choso here is just increase the enemy's damage received, just general, right, for green allies. So I'd say they're for the most part doing, you know, slightly different things, right? But you know, they're pretty close, right? I'd say they're pretty close. Where Choso's doing a bit, Choso's might be a little bit better, low key. Yeah, I'd say, yeah, this Megumi is good. I will say he's definitely like a good character if you need a good debuffer. But I'd say if you have Choso, plus Choso is available in the center banner now, you might not really need to chase this Megumi, to be honest. He's not bad. I think he's pretty good. But I mean, he does like a lot, right? He is also buffing you, right? Choso isn't buffing you at all. He's just increasing the enemy's damage taken by green allies. Where this Megumi is doing that for physical jutsu, overall green damage, or overall damage for all green allies, and a crit hit resistance down, and buffing whoever's behind him. So this Megumi is technically doing more for your team than the other current green debuffers in the game. So overall, this Megumi is really good. I don't know if I'd say he's really worth pulling for. I'd say the number one from this list so far for my... I have to look at a bar still, but I'd say so far probably be like Gojo, maybe this Megumi. I'd say maybe usually last if you don't really need a blue DPS character, but if you do, then I would say Itadori would be like second place, but I'd say number one for sure. No matter what, will be Gojo, because I think Gojo's just a really good buffer. Tight to only yellow teams, but he's still a really good buffer regardless. But yeah, I'd say this Megumi is pretty good, but I'd say look at what you have in your kit, and then I give this Megumi like a maybe summon. I'd say this Megumi just depends. He isn't like in my like you need to go out of your way for him, because you have characters like Choso, Green Ghetto, which are not free, but like you can get them a lot easier, right? So these characters are not better, but like they're good enough, right? Where this Megumi is kind of like an extra premium version of both of them, which is kind of funny because Ghetto was limited. So yeah, I'd say this Megumi is like the new premium debuffer character, where like Choso and then Ghetto would be like right underneath him. But I'd say overall he's a pretty good character. Maybe not a character you need to like fully focus on, at least not until you get the other limited characters that are available right now. And then but on the tier list though, real quick, I would say easily triple S tier support character, right up there with Choso. Really good character, really strong. And let's take a quick look at the recollection bit. So it is a Jutsu only focus recollection bit here. Whenever you do anything, skill or ultimate, you're going to recover all allies' HP by 15%, and then if it's equipped to a Tokyo Jutsu High Year 1 student or character, you recover all allies' HP by an additional 5%, so 20%. 7-turn cooldown with 1 dupe. At the start of the turn, you increase all allies' damage dealt by 5% for 1 turn, and then if the equipped character is a Tokyo Jutsu High Year 1 student, you increase all allies' damage dealt by an additional 5% for 10%. And then with 3 dupes, it will be a 20% recovery for all allies, and then an additional 10% if this is being used on a Tokyo Jutsu High Year 1 student, so basically 30%. Honestly, kind of sucks. 7-turn cooldown's way too much for this. The buff's decent, the heal's nice, but like 7-turn cooldown for this, I think is not good enough. It's not good enough. I'd say this one's probably a support one. It is a utility and odd fat sim one, but I'd say it's probably, I'd give it an A tier, maybe S tier, somewhere between these two, but I'd say maybe a little bit more on A tier. It's not horrible, but it's okay. I don't really think it's that great, to be honest. But yeah, that'll be it for Megumi's Should You Summon video. I'll be doing the water next. But yeah, Should You Summon for Megumi? He is a great green debuffer, for sure the new best premium green debuffer character you could have on your team. But I wouldn't really say you need to go out of your way for him, especially if you have like Choso or Ghetto. But if you do already have like the green team built out, but you are just missing like a good green debuffer character, and you don't have like green Ghetto or Choso, then I guess it wouldn't hurt to get him. But just make sure that you prioritize other really good characters that you need on your team. But yeah, overall I'd say it just kind of depends, but I'd say definitely not a character you need to like chase, is what I would say at the very least. But yeah, I hope this video helps you guys out, and with that being said, I'll catch you later. Peace and take care, everybody.